Hi, this is Brian Graham with the Smart Real Estate Investment Podcast, and we are on episode 3. This is building your real estate team. As always, I'm going to begin every episode reading the disclaimer. I'm not a financial advisor, and the information provided during our sessions is not intended as financial, legal, or professional advice. It is your responsibility to conduct thorough due diligence, seek the advice of qualified professionals, and make informed decisions based on your individual financial situations and goals. So this episode is building your real estate team. Now, the real estate team is broad. It is vast. There are many different professionals that are going to be associated with your team. And you as the business owner, because real estate is a business, you as the business owner need to understand a few things. You need to understand how each different professional works, but the one major quality that a business owner should possess is to realize what they themselves are an expert in and what they are not an expert in. And if it's one thing I've understood throughout my research and doing this job, I realize that I am not an expert in these categories, which is why I hire these professionals to do these jobs for me and surround myself with trustworthy and good people so that way we can accomplish my goal, essentially. um, so to begin with, let's just get right into it. The one professional that is going to be the most important person on your team, this is the person you will talk to the most when you are finding your properties, is the realtor. The realtor or the real estate agent is going to be the number one person that is the most important to your success. Here's why. This person is going to be able to refer to you if they are really good at what they do. This person is going to be able to refer every single other professional that you need because they deal with every other professional on a daily basis. So the first person is the realtor. The second person is your property manager. The third person is your real estate lawyer. The fourth is your insurance agent. And the fifth is your lender. So the realtor, if they are experienced with real estate investors, which I highly, highly recommend you find, is a realtor that has worked with real estate investors. When you find an agent that is experienced, they should be able to recommend those other professionals to you because they want your business. The real estate agent wants to work with you because every buy and sell that you do is a commission check for them. So if they are smart, they are going to treat you with respect. They're going to work extremely hard for you. They're going to be responsive, and they're going to be able to refer their entire team and their entire circle of professionals to you. Now, you don't necessarily have to use those people. You can always do it on a trial basis. But in my experience, when you find a very good realtor, they come along with a very good circle of professionals. And, 75 to 80% of the time it works out. The other 10 to 20 to 30% of the time, you may have to do a little bit more research because sometimes people just don't agree with people, and you may have to do some research and, maybe find a property manager that is a little bit different than the one that they referred to you. So the real estate agent is extremely important. So what does a real estate agent do? This person is going to be able to help you refer other professionals. They're going to determine property locations within the market that you are extremely excited about. So you have done your due diligence about, let's say, a city that does high cash flow, a city that does that the days on the market are very low, so maybe it's a flipping opportunity. That real estate agent is going to help you figure out what areas within that market are highly profitable. They're going to find out what are lower crime areas. They're going to find out what are higher crime areas and areas that are or referred to as class A, B, C, and D properties. and they're going to help you figure out where you're going to be able to achieve your goals in what type of class within that market. They're also going to help set you up on automated systems, meaning you're going to tell them, I want a 3-bed, 2-bath house. I want a 2-bed, 1-bath house. I want a 2-bed, 2-bath house. You're going to tell them everything that you need, and they're going to set you up on an automated search. So that way, every single day, a new property comes on the market or there's a change to that property, whether it's a price cut, a description change, whatever it is, you will get a notification through email what that change is, and then you can make quick, informed decisions about what you need to do. The real estate agent is also going to help you determine the house price. So whatever market you're in, they're going to be a great resource to figure out how much is this home worth. They're going to run comps for you local to that market. So I'm interested in a 3-bed, 2-bath house, but I can only spend $100,000. They may put you on a search that's up to $120,000, $130,000. That way it gives you negotiating room if there's some issue that's wrong with the house. Maybe the realtor knows that the house may actually only be worth $100,000 to $110,000, but the seller's got it listed for $130,000. They can help you work through that if they believe the home is worth less. Maybe you can get it at a discount. So there also is an opportunity for you to work with the realtor for discounts on that realtor's commission. So a typical realtor works with let's say a primary residence, and a typical realtor will make 3%. If it's a seller's realtor, they'll make 3%. So a total of 6% to the buyer and to the seller's realtor. Since your realtor is going to be doing more transactions with you, they're going to help you purchase homes, so they make that percentage. They also will sell that same home when you come back to them. But you're going to be doing more buys and more sells with them than the average person. So yes, someone may purchase a primary residence with them and their commission check might be a little bigger because they'll do one check for that person. And let's say they make 15 grand. That's great, but that only happens once every 10 years because that person is going to occupy that home for 10 years. But for you, because you're going to do a lot more transactions, even though your checks are smaller, let's say between $3,000 and $4,000, you may do 15 to 20 deals over 2 years. Every 2 years. So instead of charging you 3%, they may be willing to go down to 2 to 2.5%. So yes, they give you a small discount, but the volume is much greater and they're making more money with you because you're doing way more deals. So the realtor is an extremely important person. My experience with my realtors has been excellent. They've been very personable people, very responsive, and very knowledgeable about the market. And we've made a lot of money together. And at the end of the day, that's what talks. If you're a person that takes 6 months to do a deal and you never do one, your realtor may start to fade away and say, okay, this person's not serious. Sometimes not getting the best deal is worth it to show your realtor that you are serious about getting going. The next important person on the list is your property manager. This person is just a very close second to your realtor. The property manager, I can't express to you how important that is because this person is also someone that you're going to speak to throughout your entire time as a real estate professional. Your property manager is the person that helps dictate how much your property or your unit, each individual unit, will rent for. So this person can help you determine that before you've bought the home. So if you're interested in a single family home or a duplex or a triplex or a quadplex, some of those different properties with different bedrooms rent for different amounts. For example, a 3-bedroom home may be a different market rent than a 3-bedroom duplex in each side because some people pay a premium to live in just the home, whereas others will pay a little bit less for a 3-bedroom because it's a duplex. So the property manager can help you navigate how much each unit will rent for before you even get the home. If they are a property manager that will not do that, I recommend you find a new property manager. Finding the property manager that helps you do that prior to getting the home is crucial. You can also sign up for other resources and you can Google online to see what the market rent for is for that specific unit or property. But the property manager you should be able to text them or shoot them an email with the address that you're interested to look at that specific property. What do you think it can rent for? And they should respond with what they believe that property could rent for per month. You could even send them photos because obviously a nicer, more turned over unit should be able to rent for a little higher than a property that's not turned over or doesn't look the greatest. So they should be able to read and give you that info as well. They will market the property on your behalf. They act as you in a different location. That's what a property manager does. They will market the property on all of the platforms where someone can find a rental. Zillow, Realtor.com, Apartments.com, Facebook Marketplace, different Facebook groups within the community. They will market your property and find people to rent your unit. They will charge you between 6 to 10% of the rent, and that differs from person to person or property manager to property manager. Usually, it is between 6 to 10%. Now, this is of residential property managers, because commercial property managers should charge anywhere between 4 to 6%. It's going to be less because the rent is higher, and you actually don't have to do as much work for that property manager than you would a single family home. So they're charging you 6 to 10% of the rent. They will also screen tenants on your behalf. So when they do market your property and find you a tenant, that tenant has to apply to your property. The property manager will run a criminal and financial background check. They will take security deposits, and they will help the tenant move into the property. Now, I don't mean physically help the tenant move in, but the property manager will take security deposits, and they'll get the tenant situated so that way they can move into the property as soon as possible. But running the criminal and financial background checks is extremely important. That type of screening lets you know what kind of person that's going to enter your property, especially the criminal background check. You want to make sure that person doesn't have any prior evictions. You want to make sure their finances are stable enough to afford your unit. And so usually property management companies have policies in place to make sure that can happen and that they can afford your property. And that also differs from property management company to company. They may upcharge you for scheduling repairs. This amount could be as much as 5 to 10%. So if a repair costs $100, they'll charge you a 10% management fee to organize that situation. So you'll pay $110. They'll collect 10, and then 100 will go to the vendor. They will manage the turnover of your property of what is needed and when that is needed. So a tenant moves out of the property manager checks in with that tenant. That tenant should have dropped off the keys. They go in there and inspect the property. If it looks great, they begin the turnover. If it does not look great and there needs to be repairs, they will deduct the amount of the repairs from the security deposit of the tenant. If it looks great, they will return the security deposit to the tenant. And then they will begin the repairs, and then the repairs, they will manage the repairs. If they themselves don't have the handymen or the contractors to do it, they will go find the contractors, and then they will organize the scheduling and what is needed in order to handle that turnover. The property manager will also serve the eviction notices. So usually a property manager will be in coordination with a real estate attorney, and they know the laws and they have the policies. But if a person doesn't pay, usually by the 4th, 5th, or 6th day of the month, the property management company will issue an eviction notice and say, you have 10 days to leave the premises, or whatever that specific state is, or 30 days even. If they do not leave, the property manager can officially file the eviction notice and say, we have submitted a 30-day notice to vacate. They did not vacate, and now the court and the judge is ready to, you go to court, and the property management company will send a person on your behalf to manage that court presence, and then the judge will file a formal, accept the filing for the former eviction, and then you can remove that tenant physically using law enforcement, obviously. The next most important person is a real estate lawyer, and this person should specialize in real estate law in some way. So, in my experience, I've had a title attorney, and this is a title company. Some people, most of them are attorneys, and they handle that information, the buying and selling of homes. Um, or it could be an eviction attorney, someone that specializes in eviction law. Now, the type of law that that person specializes in or what they do on a daily basis is not as important. What is important, I believe, is just the fact that they do something in the real estate world. Because if you have a question about anything that they can't answer, because the real estate world works in such a cohesive unit, everybody talks to everybody, they will easily be able to refer you to another attorney. So if you have a question about title or evictions and the person you're speaking to doesn't know the answer, usually they'll say, I don't know this answer right now. Let me get back to you. I can find it for you very easily. Or here, reach out to this attorney's phone number and they will find it for you, and so on. So usually finding the attorney that you're looking for is not that difficult. The next most important person is the insurance agent. So the insurance agent, you can go online and you can research insurance for any property, and it's pretty much not a big deal. But I highly recommend that you find an insurance broker. A broker and a individual company are very different. What a broker does, similar to a real estate broker, sorry, I didn't mean real estate broker. I meant mortgage broker. A broker shops around different insurance companies or different lending companies on your behalf, and those companies compete for your business. That's very different than you shopping individual companies, because then you're competing for their business. And the difference is, if you use a broker, you'll be getting the best rates of everything. If you go shop individually, you'll be getting the market rates for everything, and you'll be paying a premium for all of that, which I highly recommend you find a broker. So I have an insurance broker, and the insurance broker, we have each other's phone numbers. I can send him a text message. Hey, I filed a claim. What do you think on this? And he can help me on my behalf, because he knows, even though he's not getting paid for that, he's given me 10 policies on my 10 properties, and I've made him money that way. So it's in his best interest to do a little bit more to help me, because he knows I can get 10 more quotes for him, and I can sign 10 more deals, and the next month 10 more deals, and so on. So having an insurance broker who is responsive and willing to contact people on your behalf is extremely important. The insurance broker on a daily basis is important, because when you're working with your realtor or your lender, you're going to need an evidence of insurance. You're going to need a quote, and so that way you can accurately punch numbers. My real estate broker, again, I told you I have his phone number. I should be able to text him and say, hey, I have this property, check this out. What is this going to cost me? Here's the address. It's a 2-bedroom 2-bath. It is a 3-bedroom 2-bath, whatever. And he's going to say, give me one moment, punches the numbers, gets back to me. This is going to be $500 a year. Great. Thank you so much. And then you can accurately punch numbers, because that agent is responsive and he's shopping the best rates on your behalf. So again, insurance broker over shopping individual companies for insurance, I think, is extremely, extremely important. The final person on your real estate team is going to be your lender. This person is who you are going to go for a mortgage. Now, where you are and what type of property you are buying will dictate the lender. Obviously, I can go to Wells Fargo, USAA. I can go to these different companies and I can find a residential mortgage, but some of those companies, not saying Wells Fargo because they do commercial, but if I'm investing in a commercial property, I need to find a lender that is going to give me the best commercial rates and commercial terms possible. So, for example, if you are, at, let's say, USAA, I don't believe USAA does commercial lending. I could be wrong, but I don't believe they do. They only do residential lending. So the type of lender you use is extremely important, but the lender itself, finding a person that works for that company that, again, you have their contact information, someone that is going to be willing to answer phone calls at weird times of day, weird times of night, because they want to get a deal done. You want somebody that hustles for you, because the lender is going to be handling all of your financial information, the W-2s that you have, the 1099s. They're going to be handling all of that financial information. So they're going to be somebody that you trust, but they also need to be somebody that knows how to work with real estate investors. Because when you are punching numbers for real estate investors and you have all these different documents, it's very difficult. It's a lot to keep track of. It's a lot to keep track of. I have worked, so I recently worked with a lender. This is my experience. I recently worked with a lender, and he does, I think on a daily basis, primary mortgages, which is the easiest form of mortgages, primary mortgages, because there's tons of different low down payment options, low rates, this and that, whatever. And my realtor says, "Oh, he's the best. He was able to approve somebody and get it funded in 7 days." And this is with a big lender. I'm like, "Whoa, that's amazing. Let me get his contact info." So I call him and he says, "Give me that info. Give me all your info." So I sent him every single document he needed within 2 hours. The reason lending a lot of times takes 30, 45 days is because the people that they're working with, it takes it takes weeks to get information from people because they are so disorganized. So I send this guy every document needed in 2 hours. And I thought I was going to have a pre-approval letter by the end of the day. It took a week because he said my documents were the most complicated he has ever seen in 13 years. And that it goes to show you that the lender I was working with was not familiar with working with real estate investors, because we are working with multiple leases. I'm sending him multiple documents about the properties I have. So his lending experience is most likely that he gets a W-2 from somebody, which is very easy. A W-2 is a tax form that is given to employees. And so the person that he gets the W-2, he types in the info. Okay, this person makes $1,300 a month after taxes or whatever the number is, and boom, he pumps it out. Here's your pre-approval letter. So simple. But me, I don't have a W-2. I own my own business. I also have 9 rental properties. So he's entering in all the info. I have some of my rental properties, some units that are vacant. I have some units that are on month-to-month leases. I have some units that are on long-term leases. So he's trying to figure out the qualifying. He's trying to figure out what's what. Oh, I don't know what this is. Does this qualify? He's contacting his underwriter. And here we are a week later, and I still don't have the pre-approval letter. So if I finally got it, it took me 8 or 9 days. I mean, it was crazy. And I wanted to make an offer. And the reason I went to this guy is I wanted to make an offer within 24 hours, and it took me over a week. So that is an extremely, extremely important person to have, is your lender, because they need to be familiar with real estate investors, working with people that own their own businesses, working with people that have not just a simple W-2. They may have 1099s. They may have other rental properties and income from those rental properties that they're going to use to qualify for the home that you're about to buy. And so that person needs to be extremely, extremely knowledgeable in working with real estate investors. I also highly recommend that person be a mortgage broker. So again, I'll explain what a mortgage broker is as opposed to an individual company. So if I go to USAA or Wells Fargo and I give them my information, they're going to give me the worst possible terms, the best terms that they can give me, but those are the worst terms, because that is what we call retail. They're giving you retail terms. If I go to a mortgage broker, that mortgage broker may have access to 20 different lending companies and every single one of those lending companies' products. So they may have access to USAA, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, Civista Bank, Huntington Bank. They may have access to all of those banks, and maybe even some regional banks and some banks we've never even heard of. And they can say, "Give me your info. I'm going to send it out to the 20 different companies and see who has the best product for your specific deal and the best rates." Some companies may be beneficial for low down payments. Some companies may be beneficial for low interest rates. It just depends. But the mortgage broker, I would say, is what you should go for. And that person should be someone that you develop a great relationship with. They can keep all your documentation on file, and you never have to worry about it giving your documents to so many different people. One person has your documents, and they will consistently shop the best mortgage products on your behalf. And you can do very, very many deals very quickly that way. So to recap, we have 5 professionals that are going to be on your team. We've got the realtor or the real estate agent, or it could be a mortgage real estate broker, and the real estate broker is different than that of a mortgage broker. A real estate broker is somebody that owns a chain or owns a franchise of something, and they have real estate agents that work under them. They themselves are also a real estate agent. So you have a real estate agent or a real estate broker. You have a property manager, somebody that's going to be able to market your property. You're going to pay them 6 to 10% of the rent. They're going to screen tenants on your behalf. Then you're also going to have a real estate lawyer, someone that can answer questions for you about the law. They could be an eviction attorney, a title attorney, somebody that can help you. And if they can't answer that question, they're going to be able to refer you to another professional that can. So my attorney that I have used was a title attorney. And for example, I did a private lending deal. I worked with a partner. Instead of going to a conventional, Wells Fargo bank, I worked with a private lender. That person and I agreed to do a 30-year mortgage, 30-year amortization, 25% down on a duplex. It's a typical deal like you would do with a bank, but it's a private lender instead. We came up with the terms ourselves. I sent it to her. I said, hey, these are the terms that we want to do. Can you please check this out? Let me know what you think. And she said, yep, that looks good. I said, do you mind typing it up for us? And she said, I actually don't do that. Let me send it to this guy. So she sent it to a different attorney. He typed it up. We signed the deal at closing. And then, he got paid at closing. So very easy. The next person was your insurance agent. Your insurance agent, again, is somebody that's going to be very responsive. And this person should also be a broker. They send your information, your property information to, 20 different companies. And then he gets you the best rates possible for your specific property. And then again, number 5 is your mortgage lender. I recommend also to be that person is a mortgage broker. Send your information to 20 different people, and you are good to go with getting the best rates from all those different companies. So that concludes our episode 3, guys, of the Smart Real Estate Investment Podcast. I really appreciate you guys listening in on Twitter and watching live on Twitch and Kick, Facebook, or YouTube. If you haven't already, please follow me on social media at Smart RE Investment or REI Brian 5. And we will be back next week with episode 4. And I appreciate you guys watching, and I hope you all have a good night. Thank you.